I'm going to speak this morning on our common home. The earth is like a sister whom we share our life with, a mother who opens up her arms to embrace us. But we have come to see ourselves as the earth's lords and masters, entitled, quite honestly, to plunder her at will. And that attitude, that human attitude, is reflected in what's called the symptoms of sickness. It's evident in the soil, in the water, in the air, and in all forms of life. We have forgotten that we are the dust of the earth. From it and to it we return. Our very bodies are made up of the elements of the earth. We breathe her air, and we receive our life and our refreshment from her waters as I look upon the river. When you listen to those words, you hear, at least I hear, a sense of despair, and hopefully in the background a sense of hope. I want to keep going. We need to realize that the solutions to our environmental crisis will not emerge from just one way of interpreting and transforming our reality as we understand it. No branches of the science, no particular forms of wisdom can be left out, including spirituality and the language that's peculiar or particular to it. All spiritual paths, from every point of religion that humanity has ever concocted, in their symbolic and narrative language, we find profound teachings about human existence and our historical reality, which is not that long. They teach that human life, all life, is grounded in a fundamental and closely intertwined relationship with creation and with one another. Accordingly, this relationship, a vital relationship, has been broken, objectively and subjectively. The rupture is the transgression we have created. The harmony between creation and humanity as a whole has been, is, and hopefully will not be, though, disrupted by our arrogance, our ignorance, and our ego. And the problem is we refuse to acknowledge our limitations. You know, as I sit here, it's a beautiful day, looking at a beautiful river, with a beautiful forest behind me, and beautiful sun and sky, and you know, it's just a beautiful moment. And yet, I mean, subjectively, that's what I'm experiencing, but objectively, I know we have a problem, and the problem is getting worse, and nobody is really doing anything about it. We need fundamental change. We don't need to tweak things or something like that, or, even the things we're doing is just cleaning up in a better way than what we have. I mean, that's not the answer. The notion of infinite growth from finite resources is a delusion. As a species, and we keep forgetting that we're a species and nothing more, we lack an understanding of our own origins, scientifically as well as spiritually. I mean, we've come out of this. We have no other place to. I don't want to go to Mars and stuff like that. We lack or refuse to face, or whatever that phrase is going to be, our destiny. If we keep treading on the path we're on. I mean, they're talking, probably not in my lifetime, but 20 years from now, certainly 50 years from now, we're going to see some, if things keep going, we're going to see some really drastic changes that we're probably not going to be able to handle. What are we going to do then? Right now, they're hugely expensive, but we can do something. The more a person believes that they need to buy, to own, to consume, without ever a sense of being filled, is in direct proportion to the emptiness in one's soul. It's an existential void that cannot be filled by stuff. The more a person becomes self-centered and self-absorbed, the greed increases, sometimes beyond the limits imposed by reality. I remember coming to that conclusion years ago. I had a friend who I was doing counseling with, and that was his problem. It came out of his childhood. What he didn't have was love. And he thought he could buy it and surround himself with it and put it in his pockets. He told me once, and I thought this was absolutely ridiculous, that he needed to have at least $800 in his wallet. This is when we actually used money. $800 in his wallet to feel secure. That's sick. I told him so. What is called for is an ecological conversion. A recognition as individuals, as a society, and as a species, the recognition of our errors, our faults, and our failures, leading literally to a change in one's heart. I mean, you can read that in the scriptures and go, oh yeah, but we need it right here. We need a reconciliation on many different levels between ourselves, literally, between me and my true self, between me and everyone else, and between the earth. This, and this alone, a paradigm shift, if you will, is going to lead to a change in our attitudes and therefore in our actions. We have to have a desire to become what we were created to be, formed of the earth with the breath of life, animating us to be the stewards of creation. By the way, other than my few personal injections in this, these are the words of Pope Francis. In my entire life, I have never heard the Vatican speak like this. I'm not a practicing Catholic, but this moves me. And I don't know how many people have ever read this or care. I don't even know how many Catholics have read this or care. But at the same time, if we love our children, if we love our grandchildren, and if we want to have any hope for our great-grandchildren, I think it's time to listen.